critical impact.
All right, welcome everybody for another session of Valoris Afterdark. When last we left our party, they traveled east, seeking a far-off village in search of clues and answers, probably a handful of each. They stumbled upon the small burg of Wheat Swallow. It seems this town is not without its troubles. They are being accosted by several Swagan. They have been raiding, taking villagers one by one, and feasting on their flesh. The party, with a small donation of gold given by their elder of Sweet Wallow, they have decided to lay a trap. Valderin took off his armor and is in the middle of a field, doing his best to play elderly. Valderin, how about that performance check?
All right.
Well, the DM says, let's hear a little bit of this performance, Valderin. How do you think it's going in your head?
So he's just kind of hobbling along outside. He's going, come on, Mr. Cluckers, we gotta get back.
I imagine you're just mold, because the DM's like, oof, with that roll of a 2.
In reality, he seems like he is a spry young adult.
Indeed. So, you guys had laid in wait in early hours of the morn, correct? If I'm not mistaken? Yes.
I think that sounds right.
So the sun is just getting ready to crest. That first kind of a ray of light is peeking up over the horizon when the party hears movement coming from the fields of Wheat Swallow. That was for you, Rainbow.
Thanks.
You're welcome. At first, one character appears out of the wheat, kind of poking his head out, brandishing a long trident, kind of sniffs the air. He leans kind of back into the wheat patches of Wheat Swallow. That was for you again, Rainbow. And for those who happen to be tuning in, Rainbow didn't like the name of the town, so I'm going to say it no less than 50 times this session. Wheat Swallow. As the Swagan kind of lurches back, you can see some of the wheat kind of parting as he's making some sort of hand gestures as two more of his companions pop out of the field. At this point, we're going to go ahead and roll initiative. You guys obviously have the surprise. Valderin, for you, since you're kind of in the middle of a performance, I want you to make me a perception check in the bucket, please.
Gotcha.
And I would be up by Valder and in chicken.
Go
I had
ahead
already
and
cast
go.
Polymorph
Yep,
last.
go ahead and move your chicken where you want him. Okay.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Clucker.
Okay, what did I roll? Okay, Valderin, you do notice the movement kind of coming out. Do you want to stay in character, or you want to brace for combat?
He's gonna stay in character to try and draw the men closer.
Gotcha. I still need initiative rolls from Phaley and Valderin.
Oops.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay, Wheat Swallow.
I fucking hate you.
I have incurred the wrath.
Small wrath.
Small rat. All right.
She has that ability.
Indeed. So we're going to go in initiative orders here. Kaladin, no surprise. You're the first one to react. You probably smell them coming through the wheat patches of this town. Swallow. What would you like to do?
I will go after number 3.
Okay. Kaladin
Stat.
pulls back on his bow, launches a bolt, roll some damage.
That should have been with advantage. I'm just gonna see if it's a crit.
Okay.
Nope.
It is not.
Okay. And
Okay. I had them hidden at first. I'm not sure if you can see the damage, but a 15 points as you pull back on your bow, release, arrow strikes into him. He lets out a shrill shriek of pain as blood starts to trickle down the wound in his chest.
And I'll hit number 2 for the second attack.
Okay.
Because I will also get advantage.
Oh, a mighty hit. As he looks over at his companion to see what the damage was. An arrow just missing his vital organs there in his central mass. He looks down, sees the blood start to trickle out of the arrows. He holds on to his trident and is looking around trying to find out where this volley is coming from. Nice damage.
And bonus action hide.
Okay. That will bring us up to Caspian.
Okay, you said they were coming from a, like, this way direction?
They were coming from this direction. From per the map, the northwest.
Well, given that these seem like small fries and they're kind of getting thwacked a bit, Caspian's gonna try and let me know how you want me to do this. He's gonna try and stealth around. Oh shit. He wants to stealth around, like, to get into these wheat fields back here and try and get behind them and see if there's more of them back there.
Okay, imagine everything in the world has just gone in your favor. You've won the lottery. You've won a brand new car. That's way out of character. But everything in your life suddenly just clicks. Just describe how this movement is as you rolled a 43.
I don't know how.
Oh, that was me.
Oh, wrong character.
Well, good to know.
Actually, roll me your stealth, however. Okay. Imagine once winning the lottery and having everything taken from you. So you're going to try to kind of sneak around here. They've got passive a perception of. Okay. You think that you kind of slink around unnoticed. Go ahead and move your character. It should be unlocked. And your passive perception is?
Oh, really low. Let me see. 10.
Okay. So you pause a moment in the wheat fields here and just give a good listen while you kind of trying their best to peer through the stalks. And you don't believe that there's any more back this way.
But TLDR, he's just trying to kind of get behind them, and this surely isn't the whole nest of them, if that makes sense.
Understood. All right. Did you have anything else?
No, that's my turn.
Okay. Now these Sahuagin are 1, 2, 3 are now out of their surprise turn. Essentially, they're kind of assessing the situation, looking around, that sort of thing. You guys definitely took them off guard. Good job on that, and they're pretty much defenseless for a round. That brings us to Vic, the chicken. The Vickin.
This all seems a little weird at the moment, actually.
Very much.
I too am feeling a little suspicious, although I have a chicken's intelligence, so everything is a little suspicious.
Bark.
But I think for the time being, I am just going to waddle my way over towards one of them angrily and then drop concentration and attack with my short.
Okay. You kind of kind of move and scoot your chicken butt over as you form back. I assume in female Vic form.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and that is a hit. For 4 points of damage as you slash across his torso. You cut cleanly through. He was clearly not prepared for the chicken ambush.
Nobody ever expects the chicken ambush.
The chicken inquisition.
Link does.
Inquit chicken.
All right, we're done.
Good night, folks.
The Inquit chicken. All right, fair enough. That brings us up to Old Man Volderin.
All right.
I have no armor. I'm defenseless.
Yes. And he also doesn't have a weapon.
I
Until he
imagine.
raises his hand and calls out the name of Stormbearer, and it returns to his hand.
Nice. Comes whistling through the fields of Wheat Swallow. You clutch it in your hands. You can feel its power once again in your palm. What would you like to do?
Well, that's gonna be it. Actually, he's just gonna summon his hand.
Okay. Is your old man physique? Do you like rip off your clothes or something? No, please. No, actually don't.
Just rips off the tunic. Just buff old dude. The most disgusting of sight.
Awesome. All right.
Don't
So
kink shame.
we definitely don't kink shame. Speaking of kinks, 4 more Sawage come to join the party as they erupt out of the fields to the north. 1, 2. He's gonna leap over this. This one's actually gonna get close enough to attack. He's gonna leap. All right, Volderin.
Bring it.
Better watch out. They've got multi-attack.
Oh God.
First, the spear. Will an AC 5 hit you?
No.
He lunges out at you, and even without your armor, you're able to kind of react just a little bit better than you normally would. It's like a child coming at you with a toy sword. This is clearly not a trained combatant. As he misses you off to the side, he does try to bite you. And that, however, will strike. Very unorthodox. But he bites you for 5 points, kind of ripping the flesh there off your left, well, where your pauldron would have been.
Well then, I shall counter with Wrath of the Storm. Ooh. And he'll take 2d8 lightning damage.
Ooch.
And
Ooch.
gets knocked back, I think it's 10.
10 feet. Awesome. He comes in, he misses, bites as he's tearing your flesh off. You just rebuke with lightning, kind of arches off his body, slams back into the fence here, smashing the pole and landing prone here on the other side. Great attack. Phaley, it is now your turn.
Yes. How do I fucking... There we go. I couldn't figure out how to do things again.
And remember, you have like stupid movement, so
I have like 45 feet.
Yeah, you should
Yes,
be
you
able
have
to.
45.
definitely reach. Oh yeah, you got your pick of the targets.
Yeah, she's gonna go fuck this guy up in particular.
Nice. You gonna get angry? You gonna attack recklessly?
Not yet. She'll save it.
They don't worry. That warrant her fury.
You bring
she's
your
not afraid
morning
of him.
star down on this hapless victim. He in no way was able to get up to block any portion of this attack. Go ahead and roll your damage. As you slam him with the head of your morning star, blood kind of pours out the side of his neck. You can see like the kind of the terror in his eyes as it starts to pool down his right breast. And yeah, that was awesome. You got another attack, I believe.
Yes, I do.
You follow it up, swing. You slam into the side of his head. You can see just the kind of that green skin just pull off ever so slightly from your morning star. As you pull it out, he flops over like a sack of taters, dead.
Mincemeat.
Mincemeat. He's probably the one that named this town.
Thanks.
Revenge! Revenge! Anything else, Bailey?
No, that's about it for me.
All right. You guys start to hear some movement coming from the northern field. Not like a mass of troops or anything like this. Just one large sort of object meandering through. Pokes his head out. Kind of draws his twin spears back. Points them at Phaley and Volderin. And then he places his spears down to his sides. And in a very broken common says,
I challenge your best warrior.
Me or the child?
Best fight man,
he says. While that goes on,
Sobe's dead.
Wow.
3 more Swagan appear out of the eastern fields. Now you guys have a choice. He has initiated single combat, and it's not uncommon for a winners take all battle to clear the field. You're under no obligation to honor this sort of request, but coming from, I know this amphibious creature is rather strange. I will let you guys contemplate that out. The Swagan that appear out of the eastern fields take up a sort of defensive position as we swing back around to Kaladin.
Well, Kaladin will, for this action, Hunter's Mark the big guy.
Okay.
And then he'll make his attacks on him.
Nice. Showing no mercy. Your first arrow flits through the air, striking. Is he not? Oh, there. He's visible now.
Say,
That's gonna get
That is a
nasty.
nasty crit as well.
Oh
yes.
no.
I think you just Indiana Jones this guy.
I think so.
Let's see, Hunter's Mark.
Because he is a humanoid, I think, right after.
Swagan are indeed humanoid.
Yeah.
He challenged us to mock Garan, instead got hit by a can. Oh my god!
Whew. You bring him into heavy status. Your bolt kind of slams into him. He's kind of knocks him back ever so slightly with his large frame.
No honor.
He says as Kaladin presumably prepares another arrow.
Kaladin will say, "You asked for a challenge," and he'll shoot again.
Your challenge is staying alive.
You did ask for the strongest warrior.
That is a handy hit.
And blue.
Oh, another 26 points slams into him. He kind of drops to a knee for a second as he pulls himself back up. Retreat! He issues his command. However, I believe it is Caspian's turn. Kaladin, you probably have a bonus action and
That was
a
Hunter's
move.
Mark.
Yep. Oh, then a move if you wish.
Yeah, he'll just come sneak around to the front then.
Okay, understood. Caspian.
Assuming no one's pointed a trident in his direction, he's assuming he's in the green, or in this case, in the wheat, so he's just gonna keep with his stealth plan and try and follow their retreat.
Okay, so not attacking. You're devoting everything to track them down. Okay.
Yeah, basically he's tailing them and trying to follow them back to wherever their lair is.
Understood. So they're gonna spend all of their movements exiting the field. Obviously, I'm out of map, but they would have dashed as well, which would bring us up to Vic. You see the turncoats here. Just one of them drops his weapon. The others are holding on to it as they're kind of tearing through the wheat the best that they can, trying to get back to the path and just out of here.
Just to see if I can get away with it, I'm going to try and cast Hold Person on the big.
Okay. By all means. Oh, he succeeded. Just barely. Wow, he had a good roll.
Worth a shot.
Indeed.
I will use my movement to keep pace with their retreat.
Okay. You'll be about half the distance or so, but it's understood. Volderin.
So I'm gonna throw this to the party. Do you guys want them all to live, or are the ones that have already retreated good?
I mean, out of character, the way I see it, these are not the end of them, so tracking them back to their hideout is probably the best way to go about.
So let's do a vote check to track, X to kill. Or put down. I think
There
you
you
got
go.
your answer.
All right.
I said if you want to blow up the Baron, feel free to assert your old man dominance.
Faye wants to kill everything. Just saying.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also, as I kind of pointed out earlier, this is the lifeblood of this tiny little village, and having a giant magical battle out here probably would result in a fire at some point.
Hey now, my hands are in my pockets.
How dare you see into the DM's tricks?
All right. Yeah, Baldur will just he'll just kind of pick up his hammer and just go, all right, throw it off with you.
Okay. Gonna shoo him off.
Because there's no way in hell that he's gonna run after him, because he will not keep up.
So, the one brave Sahuagin moves up into a defensive position. He looks over at his friend who had fallen behind the what do you call it? The fence there that you kind of burst him through.
Go, I will cover retreat.
he gets up and he kind of hobbles off. He sees Vic and decides to try to go off this way. And let's see. That's their turn, which brings us to Phaley.
I think she'll go ahead and ready an action. She can see that they're running away, but she'll ready an action in case any of them try to come back.
Okay. I think that's fair enough. The Baron...
Well met.
as he tries to slink off back into the wheat. These guys will run off to the northeast. At this point, we're kind of in a pursuit. They did split the pack, like their pack. Did you guys want to divide, or did you guys want to all follow one group?
Splitting the party sounds like the only logical thing to do.
Hey, you never know.
obviously. Well, I know Vic is going to go airborne, so she's already going to break off from the group in that regard. But she's probably going to track after the big guy.
Okay.
Caspian's going west with these original Sahagin.
Bailey's gonna go chase after him because she doesn't leave him behind.
Okay. What about Kaladin and Volderin?
Volderin will follow after the little.
Okay. So I'm gonna just
To the
kind
best
of
of his ability.
I'm just gonna move your guys kind of in a direction. I think Vic is gonna follow this group. If I'm not or no, the big guy.
Yeah, the big guy.
Hi.
I'm sorry, you kind of cut out there.
I'll follow the big guy.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna pull ourselves semi-quasi out of combat here. You guys track these down. Now, moving over land, it's not a very difficult thing to keep pace with these creatures. They're just ill-suited for this type of environment, which is strange while they're even here. Vic and Kaladin, you guys, after a while, will realize that they're gradually moving over towards that other group. Caspian and your group, you're going to realize that they're kind of moving off to the east to regroup. Eventually, as you kind of move through the hills and valleys here, they don't travel for very far, maybe an hour or so outside of this town, when something strange catches your guys' eyes. The terrain instantly changes from some sort of, again, like rolling fields of wheat and corn and that sort of thing, into, you see almost like a lake, but instead of a lake, it turns into almost like beachside property. You can see some of the water kind of surrounding the area, and then about another maybe half mile or so, there's more land in the center mass. You can see once the Swagan, once they get to water, again, it's home for them. They're gonna make way to that sort of shore front. However, I'm gonna switch maps on you guys. Here's kind of what you guys see.
To be clear, is this is it like a saltwater smell, or is it just in like a
it
lake?
is. It is very much saltwater. It doesn't make a lick of sense. You should see probably the left half of the map here.
Oh, laughs in Susano.
And let's put some characters here. Let's do that. Let me delete. There. I'm going to put you guys in the water, but I imagine you guys are going to swim across it. We'll just do this as a precursor here. You can see the Sahuagin swim across this salty brine with great ease. All sorts of odd flora and fauna. Stuff that you absolutely would not expect to find here. Just in this little pocket. It's almost like an oasis. But in the center of that oasis is almost like a desert sort of island. The party reconvenes. What would you like to do?
So this, or I'm doing it again, but like what we're looking at is the island that like
Yeah.
we're coming from the shore.
I'm assuming that you guys are going to swim across and track them to the island.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, not to be completely paranoid about it, but we have heard of terrain transformations before.
Have we recently?
Not recently, but we know the Nagpa have been experimenting with the same ritual that transformed the desert of old into a swamp.
But transforming flaxen fields into ocean water, this doesn't sound like it would make any sense.
No, but we don't know what they've done with the ritual either. We know it's not the same as it once was.
Caspian will, whether he's armored or still in his farmer suit, Caspian will look at Voldurin and say, "Are you sure this isn't something to do with your deity, old man?"
Religion check.
I will do.
You kind of put away your five senses and reach into that sixth sense that you've been trying to develop with your god over the course of your lifetime, which is not insignificant at this point. You close your eyes and you listen to the waves crash against the shores. You start to almost like skim across the water like a just, you know, like a child tossing a stone, just bounce, bounce, bounce. And then you hit that last bounce and you stay afloat, and the water starts to ripple away as you move towards this island. And as you get closer, you feel the warm embrace of your god. He is near.
She's here.
That's what I figured. You don't just imprison a deity and have the world go on how it was.
It's a far more pleasant explanation than what I was imagining.
We must continue on. We need to find him.
Well, you don't have your armor. You could certainly swim.
No, we are doing this as badass as possible. Baldurin will cast Control Water and part the sea.
Oh, wow. Can you drop the card for me?
I can.
Let my people go.
In this case, it's let my deity go.
This is a holy mission.
Takes off his farmer clothes, puts on a suit and sunglasses. We're on a mission from my god.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
He'll in the meantime he'll put his vestments.
Volderin, as he gets ready, he just extends his hand out, and I imagine you have some sort of holy symbol.
Yes.
As well. You clutch your holy symbol, and you swear that he has, like, just for a fraction of a second, this kind of partial glow about him. Maybe it was just a reflection of the lights, but the seas start to quake and tremble as this long trench starts to appear. You can see some fish kind of flopping in the dried, kind of compacted sand. Some of the coral still there. You can see a starfish kind of moving slowly. It was reaching out to move to another position, but the seas have parted.
Let us not waste any time. Let us go. And he'll start to kind of at a rapid pace march forward.
As they're kind of following along this clear trench, Caspian will just call out to the group, keep your wits about you. Shizuka said that last time they found Susano, there was some problematic guests about.
And they were far before us.
Volderin with mighty conviction. Awesome.
He is on a mission.
As you guys
Vic,
span...
being
Oh, go ahead.
the infinitely nice one, will toss any wayward fish back into the non-parted parts of the water.
Oh, that's awesome. I imagine Faley just kind of scoops one up and...
Oh,
a
definitely.
snack on the way. It's still kind of writhing around. That's awesome.
Sashimi.
Right?
Real fresh.
Super fresh. Just watch out for them puffin fish.
Got yourself some of them sashimi.
As you guys make it across the way with great haste, you will see kind of like this beachfront, but this odd sort of rocky outcropping. It is stone, but it is very cold to the touch. Like you can see it with your eyes that it is just cold. Not exactly ice, but cold enough that it has like this kind of sheen across it. Volderin, with your you had a really good religion roll. You're going to be able to just kind of feel your way, and eventually you guys are indeed going to find kind of a cave sort of entrance. Now, you can smell and see partial bits of the water from the natural light that you have in this area, though it is a cave and it is going to be dark. So this group entirely has dark vision, do they not? I think.
More than likely.
I think so, yeah.
I think everybody does.
Wow. And I do have tricks up my sleeve in terms of lighting things up.
Very good. So we're just going to kind of move your guys' characters here. Feel free. I haven't locked the map or anything like that, so you can kind of shuffle them around, but I'm going to reveal a bit more here. And it's going to be just blocky because reasons. But once you pass about this threshold here, it moves into dim light, and then about here you're going to be in dark light.
Right. Before we go in, though, Baldurin will cast Aid at... Is it only... Oh, okay. At 5th level on himself, Faley, and Caspian.
Okay. By all means. Then.
8? Yeah, 8 is only ever 3 people. It just goes up in hit points, right?
I
Correct.
believe so.
Yeah.
But 20 hit points is nothing to scoff at. As you guys start to move in,
Why does it go to... It should be hit point max. Oh, you know what? Because I have it set to temporary.
either way, it pretty much works the same. If we ever have other temporary effects, we can deal with it because they'll overwrite each other per se. But in short, in mechanics, it works pretty similar for our needs, at least right now. As you guys start to move in, you see a small patch about here. There's some really small, they're no more than maybe 7 or 8 inches, kind of small sharks that seem to be kind of frenzying up a little bit in this area. You can see that spot is a little bit darker than the rest, as a bit of blood has been dropped in this area, and they are just kind of going to town, eating whatever scrap or bits that were potentially here. You guys do have free movement if you want to explore.
I say we let Voldurin take the lead.
Very well.
And the rest of you will see Vic fish a cloak that you've never seen before out of her bag and secure it around her neck.
Voldrin, as you kind of approach, anybody with a passive perception higher than 14 or higher will kind of hear some sounds coming from the south here in this little alcove. It doesn't appear to be in a language that I don't think you guys speak.
I have to double check if comprehend languages works on hearing.
Okay, good.
But if it does, I will cast.
Okay. If you wish to cast it, go ahead.
Yes, spoken language that you hear. So yeah, I'll go ahead and cast it.
All right, and I'm gonna just send you a quick whisper. I don't think it lets you identify the exact language, but
Yeah, I would just be able to understand it. I wouldn't know what it is. Or what they're saying, rather. Yeah, I will telepathically tell Valderin to stop and kind of signal to the others to stop as well, since he's ahead of me, and try to listen in and see if I can glean anything else before we proceed.
okay. And that's pretty much the muttering that you hear.
Alright, I'll quietly relay to the others that sounds like there's somebody by themselves down off to our, I guess, to our perspective, to our right, that seems to be alone and hungry.
Does they sound hostile?
Would I be able to pick up
He's
from...
perturbed is probably the closest. Disgruntled.
More annoyed than hostile.
How do you want to deal with them?
Well, if they are annoyed with their allies, perhaps we can make some sort of an arrangement. Couldn't hurt to have a guide.
Baldwin will ponder for a moment and go, very well. I will trust your judgment. And,
Caspian will just pipe up and say, "We need to figure out if they're his jailers or they're trapped here with him."
That is also true. Well, no way to know until we approach. But bear in mind he is hungry, so if we have any food that we can offer, that may be our way in.
Caspian looks back at the headless fish Faylee's holding.
Crunching on the
Take
spine.
out.
All right, what's the plan?
are we going to try and sneak in, or are we going to just approach him?
I'll try to peek around the corner and see what it is first, and if it is a I'm never gonna be able to pronounce the names of these things. Sahagin. I'll transform
Sahagin?
into Sahagin.
I think it's Sahagin. I don't know. I'd have to hear Matt Mercer.
Yeah, I'll just peek around the bend and.
Okay, so again, you can kind of hear him just kind of muttering about. You hear a bit of splashing as he's kind of reaching down, and he's just kind of pierced a small fish, and he's pulling it up, and he's like, small, crunch, crunch.
Yeah, so even though the disguise is not really going to be that effective, given that I don't speak what he, she, it is speaking, I will turn into one of them just for the ease of approach.
Okay. All right, and then you kind of step around. We'll give you a little bit of berth there. He's kind of crunching on a fish, back turned. Kind of hears the splashing coming up as he turns around. The fish still kind of flopping out of his mouth, and good thing you have the spell. As he's like, "This one's mine."
Would you be interested in more food? Obviously in common.
Kind of looks at you funny. He kind of pulls the fish apart as he chomps down the other half.
Why speak that tongue?
Because I'm not one of you.
Huh?
Translated.
You-
Huh?
Raise my hands kind of non-threateningly and drop the transformation, or technically transform back into myself, since that's a different transformation.
He immediately kind of just hunches down and tries to bring his spear around. Let's say he's not very trained. He's able to kind of hunker down in like a kind of an offensive kind of stance or gait there, as he doesn't lunge his trident towards you, but he just kind of moves it forward and back in kind of a threatening sort of manner.
Witchcraft. Explain.
We mean you no harm.
We? Where are we?
As he starts to kind of
Around
eye
the
around the
corner.
room.
But we mean you no harm. In fact, we can help you if you're willing to help us.
Help how?
Well, these lands are foreign to us. We can use a guide, and we're willing to pay you in food.
These lands. Strange. Very strange. Guide where?
We're not entirely sure. We're hoping you could help us find something strange that has been hidden away here.
You speak with Chief?
If we can do so without starting a battle, sir.
Fine. Meet friends.
He'll kind of move over and step around. As he gets around the corner, he kind of drops down in a defensive stance again. Stares at Kaladin.
The Golden Devil!
He kind of you can tell that although his position is he's trying to feign offense, you can see him just kind of scooting back ever so slightly.
You killed. You hurt. Why here?
Easy there, unless you want to see a similar fate.
They come back. They talk about this one. The magic arrows.
There's a reason we didn't slaughter everyone. We had the suspicion that this is not your usual hunting grounds.
No, it is not.
How did you come to be here, small one?
We were drawn. Elder, our chief, saw great vision lead us through people lands. Long trip, many died, many dried out husk.
At the when he said vision, Valderin will immediately kind of like lunge forward and be like, "What did he see?"
We were brought to the Crystal Man.
Where is this Crystal Man?
You were able to defeat an entire scouting party. I am no match. Come, I will guide you. I will do best to keep safe. No promises. You speak with Chief.
Very well.
All right. So you guys have befriended a sort of a kind Sohagan here, and
As they go forward, Caspian will take out some leftovers from dinner last night and give it to him.
Strange. What this?
Did we have stew? I don't remember now.
and spiced potatoes.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah.
It's like a vegetable. How do I say this? Fish from the ground.
What color fin?
Brown.
Brown fin. Not had. Very hard. Spicy.
But satisfying.
It'll do. Doesn't move.
But you imagine he likes the crunch. All right, so I'm just gonna pretty much reveal Mappo. Boop. You're in 14.12 seconds. And missed a little bit. All right, so we're just going to move tokens here to make it easier. As you pass through, you will see a collective of Sohagan. You estimate somewhere about 30, 35 or so. You can see some that are male, female, even a couple, I don't know, tidelings, whatever they would call their children, kind of swimming and messing about. And he finally leads you over here to the Great Tide Pool. You can see the center is rather deep, at least deeper than the rest here. Enough that you could even submerge down. It's kind of hard to see down into its kind of murky depths. Oh, excuse me. Let's add here. Are those the same tokens? Oh, they are. That's lame. Okay. I don't think I have a way to mark. The one that said an angle is presumably the chief here. Definitely a female sort of form, though not as close to humanoids as some of the other races, of course. And where is Big Bruiser? You can see he has returned beaten, broken, barely had time to apply any sort of bandages. But you guys approach. They, of course, look at you. The one marked as Baron. He kind of folds his arms and looks. Mostly his eyes are upon Kaladin, but he will acknowledge the rest of the group. The priestess will kind of swim over towards the center of the pond as your companion here. They exchange a few just commonality greetings Vic can tell you here. Priestess will swim within about 10 feet or so.
They said outsiders were here. I did not want to believe. You bested our foraging party. Why have you come? To wipe us out?
If that was our intention, we would have killed your scouting party in the fields. We came to parley.
I do not know this word, but I think I take your meaning. What do you wish to discuss?
Two things, if you would. We are, for the sake of the villagers, for the sake of your prey, we want to know why you've come here and why you've started hurting them. And then we also, my friend here, and he'll kind of elbow Voldurin, has something he wants to ask you personally.
I see. We do as we must, as the Great Circle commands. My people have traveled far on a religious pilgrimage, drawn here to the Crystal Man. My people have needs. We must eat, as all must to survive. It is nothing personal.
Caspian will just look kind of expectantly at the dwarf.
Baldurin will walk forward and he'll say,
You have come here on a vision granted by the man in the crystal, yes?
Yes. He bade us to watch over him until the time of the awakening.
Then you are not our enemies. The man in the crystal is a god. He is Susano, Lord of Storm and Sea, and he is my master. I too was given a great vision. Though I was not able to decipher its meaning, I feel as though it has led me here, to you and to him. I humbly ask as a fellow servant to take me to him.
She looks down at you, your conviction just absolutely ringing through.
Ki long da saro. That is the name my people have given him. It means the one who rides the raging torment.
Not torment.
Torrent. If you allow us to persist, we will do our best not to hunt the humankind. For you see, life here is just beginning. The fishing game are too small. We would eat them out of extinction, and then so too would we follow. But if we can come to an agreement, I will allow you passage to see the Crystal Man.
Valdrin, may I speak up?
If you wouldn't mind, these diplomatic matters are not my forte.
Perhaps an agreement can be made between your kind and the villagers. Perhaps you can earn some of their food rather than preying on the villagers themselves.
We tried it first. These landwalker food. It is not good. I do not know word.
She kind of says it in her native tongue. Dashnakara. Delicious.
I am aware it may not be to your palate, but as you said, it's a temporary problem until the ecosystem here changes more fully.
We need fish, scale, blood. Perhaps more. They grow these odd, I don't know what you call them, these great fruits from the ground. We cannot subsist on this, but we hear of a great man city with ports and vessel boats. If they could bring supplies, perhaps we could trade for food. We have precious,
She's gonna say like shiny bits, essentially coral and jade, and you kind of she does something to the murky pool, and you can see like 1,000 almost like glittering diamonds down below. Not necessarily diamonds, but precious metals, gems, that sort of thing just starts to kind of light the area underneath, and you can see that there's indeed a tunnel that goes a lot deeper as well.
Could you do this? We would not eat of the man flesh, but we require something.
She'll use their word, squirmy.
I think arrangements can be made. Our sailing ships are rather stalled at port at the moment. There's a very large, trying to keep her words simple, a very large beast in the ocean that has been causing some issues. But if we stick to the coast, we may be able to make something work.
You refer to Dagon.
Yes, that would be the one.
We hear the calling. Strong is that thought. Barely resisted. We could. Many of our brethren have fallen into the siren song of Dagon.
Well, I don't think there's much we can do to help with that at the moment, but perhaps in time, as we gain more support from other allies around, we may be able to contend with him and free your brethren from his influence.
Our singular purpose is to protect and watch over the Crystal Man. They cannot help it. It is our nature to follow. They will have to govern themselves. But if you can honor this arrangement, I will take you to Kirang Dasharo.
She's just looking for one last yes, we agree to these terms, so to speak.
Vic will turn back to the group and say, well, we do know one woman/deity who has access to a ship in the city.
We'll have to make something work. There's no other solution. That I'll abide. I can't stand the thought of the villagers being eaten, but these people need to be protected too.
Yes, we will have to find something.
We'll turn back and say, yes, we promise we will find a way.
Good. When you leave, one with you I shall send. Squirm!
He kind of swims over.
When they leave, you will escort them back. You, chosen, you will deliver terms, trade with these people, assure them of our good faith.
He agrees. We're gonna skip forward. Anything else that you wish to discuss with the chief here? If not, we're gonna have her fulfill her part of the bargain.
Vic would just suggest, not with any ulterior motives, although it'll probably sound like it, that she provides some of the gemstones just as proof that they have something to trade.
She looks at you kind of down her nose, kind of weighing your measure here.
Agreed. A wise decision.
Caspian will snap at Squarm and tell him, grab whatever you can carry. You'll keep it.
Yeah, he will start preparing for the trip at hand. The chieftain will say,
"Now, come with me."
We're gonna... Is there a quick... I don't know if there's a quick select. Move your guys is here. I imagine Volderin is going to be about balls deep there.
Oh, yeah. Let's get a ball in there.
Yeah, as you start to kind of clear out this, the sand almost shimmers like diamonds. It is just so refined. In the center mass, you can see this huge sort of... It looks like ice, but it's not. It's definitely like a bluish sort of white crystalline structure that is surrounding what appears. I mean, you've never really seen Susano, so to speak, but your mind's eye is telling you that this is exactly what he would look like. You can see him just kind of trapped mid-movement in this kind of crystalloid structure. You can see that there are some cracks that have started to form in this crystalline cage.
The Crystal Man.
Volderin will...
Even the tiniest of light sources just echoes and reflects off this entire room. As you got closer, you could just see kind of this blinding spectacle. Your eyes, of course, would start to adjust as you move up, but it is just a majestic, nearly blinding sight at first.
Aldurin will walk forward and he'll prostrate himself in front of his...
And he'll say, "My lord, I have come as you asked. I apologize for the confusion on my part. I was unable to decipher what it is you needed from me, but..."
You are an idiot.
My lord.
Come closer, child.
Aldurin will step forward.
You have done well to seek me out. Those vile creatures may have contained my body, but they will never tame the raging spirits inside. See what they have done. Moved me, they did. Too powerful was I to be kept in the sea, and look, transformed mighty fields into sea and bliss.
So this is of your creation then, my lord.
They cannot contain my power. They may have drawn on it ever so slightly for their evil ways. But soon, like a rushing torrent, I will be free. It is only a matter of time.
Of course. Is there anything that I can do to help expedite this? I am at your service.
The others, brother, sister, we must unite against this evil. Seek them out. Destroy them. Trample them under wave and foot.
As you command, my lord. And so long as I draw breath, I will see the end of each and every last one of those damned birds.
Yes, we shall see this together, you and my other disciples. We must prepare. First, a warm-up with these Nagpa, and then the glorious battle to come. Now go, spread the faith, free brother, sister, find us, unite us, stop them.
At your command, my lord, I shall set forth out this instant.
The room grows silent for a while. Now, everyone in the room would have heard this booming sort of echo sound. Looking at the chieftain, she was almost taken aback. As soon as Voldurin's, kind of palpable and approachable, she will move closer.
Only in visions did he speak with me. But you... what are you?
I am merely a servant of my god. Granted power through him I serve.
She drops to a knee. Yes, you... I am his ears. You will be his arm. Yes, it makes sense.
We will grab the arm of the Sahagin chief priestess.
Just shake it. It's like, yes, together we shall do as he commands, and we shall see him free.
I never thought fate would have us side by side with the land ones. Strange times these are. Strange tides.
Indeed.
We will do our best to make peace with the other landwalkers. Promise you have.
And we will do our best to make sure that you have ample food and supply.
Mr. DM,
Yes, sir.
while Voldurin is having this heart-to-heart with the priestess, once Voldurin's audience ended, Caspian's kind of walking around the dimmed crystal, just kind of circling it, and he's running the hand with his charred ring against it, and he's trying to see if he can get a size of this crystal stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's only ever seen it, or sorry, he's only ever heard about it before. This is his first time seeing the prison.
Let's see. As you rub your fingers on it, I know you're not trained in religion, but just give me a blind religion roll. Interesting. Let's do this. Let's take like a quick, maybe 10-minute break or so. We'll be back 11 or just a little bit before. And Caspian, I'm gonna send you some whispers via Discord. Sound good?
Okie dokie.
All right, we will be right back. Okay, back.
Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. I think we need to give a couple minutes for the rest here.
I am here.
Welcome back. I set my drink down and now I need to go track it down. I'll be right back again.
You know, I think more NPCs have referred to Valderin as young than have referred to him as old.
Yeah.
We need to stop meeting gods, dragons, and vampires. That's the problem.
There's a in the age of mortals, I am quite old in comparison to, you know, those that don't frickin' age. Damn, I'm a damn babe.
Okay, back again.
I'm just waiting for Atherin to introduce an NPC that tells Valderin to come back when he has some hair on his chin.
What, mate?
For another 100 years more, I grew this beard.
I mean, that's pretty close there.
Put up a ready check.
Every dwarf we meet in Kabuto will be 500 years old.
Oh, I swear.
All right, looks like everybody is back. So, you have met with the mighty god Susanoo.
The Almighty.
And so he's giving you a bit of direction. Of course, he's not super helpful. Just go smash bad guys and await my return.
That's good enough to give Valderin purpose, since it came directly from him.
Good enough. And I had whispered Caspian as well. What would you guys like to do? Head back to the village and see how that goes?
I just want to do, if not necessarily clear things up, just get a slightly better understanding
Sure.
as a question to the DM. Is the implication, at least, or something that Vic might infer from what she overheard, that if we are to reunite the three of them, that will set them free?
He, of course, speaks in riddle, as all gods tend to do. Although he's entrapped in a crystal, you imagine that he's still. Have you seen? Sorry, this is slightly out of topic, but Clash of the Titans, the old movie.
I have, but it's been a long
So
time.
there's a scene where the gods have kind of clay figures of humanoids that they move around the board, so to speak. You imagine even in his restrained state that he's still doing that somewhat. As far as his crystal has started to crack. He kind of alluded that the Nagpa were the cause of this, but he also boasted that no one or no thing can contain him, per se, so perhaps he's forcing his will upon it. He's alluding that he will eventually break free, but he needs to reunite with his brothers and sisters, not only to bring down the Nagpa, but he alluded to the battle to come, whatever that may be.
Okay, so the reuniting is more about continuing the battle, not necessarily about what would or may set him free.
Yeah. More like he's good. He's eventually going to break himself out, but his brother and sister probably need some help. But that's just the kind of guy Sasano is. I mean, he's the type of guy that will just lash down a D100 lightning bolt on a peasant just because he's bored.
Mood.
Rude. When he's in a mood.
Truly the greatest.
One crude dude.
Also, while Vic has absolutely no reason to think that this could possibly work, she's going to try to cast Dispel Magic on the crystal.
Maybe if you could cast it at 10th level.
Power of friendship?
Even the power of friendship has no effect.
Damn, I was hoping that would boost the spell level up.
It's super ineffective. But presumably he summoned some guardians here. He marched them through basically hell for these people. I mean, moving through human lands when you're an aquatic race is none too easy. But they're here.
Yes, their reward is the glory of Susano.
And he also alluded that his mere presence here is reshaping the land as his power is escaping.
It really makes the Moses allegory earlier all the more apropos.
Good news for the denizens of Wheat Swallow. Their property value is about to go up.
Which city?
Wheat Swallow?
No more of that. You're gonna get in trouble.
Wait, you mean Weed Swallow?
Oh my god.
Did somebody say Candlejack?
Somebody say Thunder Fury? Oh no, she left.
Thunder Fury, blessed blade of the wind.
Oh no. Don't pull an Atherin.
That's the next thing. Atherin, make me Thunder Fury.
Thunder Fury.
As they are leaving this cave, and I guess we're gonna start heading back towards the town that shall not be named. Caspian will just he'll take his hand back off the crystal a bit, give it a couple of metallic pats with his ring, and he says, "I'm looking, buddy. I'm looking."
Very good.
On the way back at some point, Vic will mention to Caspian, I just had an interesting thought, given where we just were and what seemed to have created that landscape. I suppose we have a better picture of what we might encounter when we head up north to find that mountain. May very well be a volcano by the time we get there.
You know, you might be onto something, dear. And he'll just leave it at that and just keep moving forward.
Fair enough. So we'll fast track a little bit. It was Squarm, right? Squarm will kind of escort you guys back to the village. How do you guys have any plan of introducing him, or are you just gonna show up and like, hey, we got this dude? Squarm, my best dude.
All right. Valdurin will. What is it? He will cast Thaumaturgy to make his voice as loud as he possibly can, and he will call for the village elder.
Okay. So a few minutes, of course, this is going to cause a big hullabaloo in the town of that shall not be named.
Sweet Hollow.
It's not Sweet Hollow. The people start to congregate around the elder, kind of hobbles his way. Yes.
It is good to see you again, old man.
And you as well.
We have taken care of your Sahagin issue. I present you an envoy.
He kind of looks at you in a puzzled look as Squirm kind of pulls back the cowl on his hood there. The village is just like, you know, some people are kind of getting antsy. Those who had like pitchforks that will kind of bring them at the ready.
Lower your weapons, citizens.
They
Villagers, peasants. Whatever.
Plebeians.
Lower your weapons, plebs.
Wheat swallowians. Anyways, as they kind of look over to the elder, he takes a reading of the room per se, and he motions his hands down. They don't stow their weapons by any means, but they bring them down, point them to the ground. Let's hear what this Master Dwarf has to say.
Through divine providence, these noble people have wandered throughout finding a new home for themselves. They came to a holy land, and well, the food isn't, well, up to par, I should say. They require sustenance, and unfortunately it became grave enough that they started hunting the local populace. We've come to an agreement. We merely need to find a replacement of food for them, and they will undoubtedly pay. I vouch for their character, as they are.
Damn it. Sorry, I got distracted by Discord chat.
You're fine.
As they are of the faith.
For anybody watching, instead of wheat swallow, they said as long as I should have named it meat swallow. The elder, well, they haven't but touched our fields. Only at first. I imagine they wanted something a little more appetizing for them. What could we possibly offer?
Unfortunately, there's little. We're going to have to set up some sort of trade connection with Tantabus, get the materials from their home to the city and back.
We were hoping that this town could become the center of trade between the Tantabinians and the Sahagans.
We've already lost many farmers. I don't think we could afford to pay for their provisions as well. At this point, a Squarm, it kind of reaches in a sack, and you can see the tension from all the farmers as they kind of start to ready their weapons. Squarm just kind of squirms back a little bit, looks at the village elder, and
No, let's at least hear him out.
Squarm continues to kind of fish through his pocket, and unties a small kind of satchel. He starts to make a few precarious steps towards the village elder. He doesn't get within maybe 5 foot of him, and he will set the sack down and kind of retreat back to your group. The elder sends one of the younger men to pick it up, and he kind of jangles it in his hand and undoes the cords and looks in, and his mouth just stays open, and he hands it over to the elder.
Is what you say true? Truly a peace?
Yes, they are of the faith. They do not wish to harm you. They merely wish to survive.
I know it is difficult to imagine, Elder, but what would you and your people have done if your fields no longer could sustain you?
He kind of looks to the side.
I don't have a good answer for that. But if you say that they're turning over a new leaf, and we trust you, so in turn we will trust them. I will send a wagon and a rider or two into Tentibus to procure their supplies. This young one here, he will not be harmed. You have my word.
And he kind of projects his voice amongst the people.
Isn't that right? No one shall harm this one.
And they all, of course, nod in agreement. Some more reluctant to others, considering the circumstances. Not too bad.
I believe we have an accord.
As the elder moves forward and holds out his hand to Squarm. Squarm just kind of looks down at it, and then he looks at you, Volderin. Kind of a puzzled look on his face.
It is a greeting among those of the land. Reach out with your hand and grip tightly, and the rest will come naturally.
Very clumsily, Squarm will do the best with the direction he had and grasp the elder's hand, and the mood just kind of lightens. It doesn't, the tension's not completely cut. That's going to take some time, but they've come a long way from being hostile, so to speak. They're at least neutral at this point. Over the course of days, weeks, months, that will probably change as well. But you guys did good here. You brought peace to basically 2 warring tribes, so to speak. Not closer to your goal, but you did find some mysterious sort of, I guess, religious guidance.
Remember when Atherin thought we were going to be the more morally gray group?
Right? I should have. Everything that I plan, I should just throw it out the window, because it's like, oh, let's take a left turn. I'll only go right. Uh-oh.
What you should have done is posted to recruit, like, upstanding citizens of paragons of justice and virtue. We would all been a bunch of psychopaths.
I would have gotten nothing but murder hobos, yeah. You will find a note at the inn. Lucas has decided to head forward. He left about a day or so ahead of you. He kind of writes, my condolences. Unfortunately, the wind forces my feet to travel. I'm sure we will be reunited soon.
he went to go fight in the gladiatory arenas.
That it does not say, but intuition, perhaps. Perhaps he was very fearful of those in Tantibus. Had to keep his feet on the ground, one after the other. All right, so it's probably approaching nighttime. You guys are going to stay in the inn one last time?
Believe so.
Yeah.
Sounds good enough.
Question, DM.
Answer.
As far as we know, is the other group still in Tantibus proper?
More than likely.
Well, that night then, Caspian would like to break out his diplomat's pouch and send a message about to Makoto about some rock, whatchamacallit, like sifting for gems that he and his group did that day, and also wondered if they could go down to the pier for them.
Interesting.
Now that I think about it, if we're gonna go forward, I don't want to just send a lone Sahagan into Tantibus without someone.
The Sahagan is going to stay with the villagers. The elder is going to send a man or two into Tantibus to do the trading, to get the supplies to bring back to the fish folk.
Okay. Well, he'll still probably try and at least tip the other group off. So maybe they can help with it. Maybe they won't bother, but at least they'll know.
Fair enough. A little forewarning. So your night's going to go, I think, mostly uneventful. There'll be a little bit of music and dancing and that sort of thing. It's a real small town, so everybody's dancing with their sister. No, that's not
Vic will
true.
definitely put on a performance.
Okay. Yeah. So, spiced potatoes. They actually were able to prepare a little bit more meat than the day before for those who would partake, and pretty restful night. I think you guys would wake up refreshed and feeling good about the good deed that you guys had done.
Baldurin now back in his armor.
Right. Did you feel naked without it?
Very.
So you guys prepare your horses in the morning, say any sort of final goodbyes that you have, and then you will hit the road, presumably.
As we say our goodbyes to Wheat Swallow.
Indeed. Let me reference the map here in Discord.
Oh, sweet 24 AC. How I missed you.
All right, so let's do this. Why don't everybody just roll me a random d20? Wee. Okay, I'm going to do this. All right, so you guys are going to travel for quite some ways. The rolling fields will slowly kind of change over. You're going to eventually reach another border town, sort of. It's the border between kind of the last vestige of farmable land before it turns into kind of a more rocky sort of terrain. You stop for the evening at one of the establishments. This town is a little bit bigger than the last one. You're pushing maybe about 100 patrons or so. There is some talk in the tavern about a group of hunters that have been around, and they have basically set up a checkpoint is to the best of your knowledge that you're getting from these people. As far as people coming into kind of the Rocky Mountainous area here, and they are demanding a large toll. So anybody who's been trying to make their way over to the neighboring city to the east is having to pay an exorbitant amount of 100 gold per head.
And you said these are hunters?
That's how they're framing it, as some would call them bandits, hunters, but always kind of in a moving, sort of flowing way, which a checkpoint sounds pretty like a solid place. So the story doesn't exactly check out, past the just, kind of the initial tests, but several people have been talking about it.
To his group, then Caspian will just kind of mutter, well, sounds like the road to refuge isn't entirely clear and free.
Well, we've done a good deed by negotiating with the Sahagin. I don't see any issue with knocking some heads with this sort, though.
Somebody gets a little too close to your table. He's a pretty well-dressed gentleman. You can see like a rapier at his side. His hair is long and kind of mopped, but still coiffed in a fashionable sort. You can see he's probably had just a few too many, as his eyes are slightly kind of glazed over. Sahagin, he says as he bumps into the table, spilling a bit of ale onto your table.
Yes, what of it?
Why are you worried about fish folk?
Oh, we're not. Not anymore.
Let me guess. You guys headed to refuge? You're not bad looking.
Who's he looking at when he says that?
Well,
Obviously me.
I was gonna say, I hope it's Valderin.
No, it is the Vic.
Well, I certainly do try.
Anyways, are you guys headed that way? I'm trying to get a group together, trying to outrun them centaurs.
What's this about centaurs now?
They got this damn foolish idea that they can make a lot of gold, charging people, making it into refuge. See, I'm smart. He pokes his tankard to the side of his head, spilling a bit of ale down the side of his face. He sticks his tongue out to try to lap up a few of the drops. Anyways, I've been thinking. I don't think they're in it for the gold. I think Refuge doesn't want any more people. So they're trying to put the word out to keep people from coming in.
So you think these highwaymen are a fabrication?
No. Everybody knows the centaurs roam the hills around this area. But they've always been friendly. Always more standoffish, if you know what I mean. I just find it odd all of a sudden. I don't know, things are changing around here. Maybe I should just go back west of Tantabus, but I hear it's not without its own problems.
Oh, it is certainly not. But why do you think things are changing around here? What has changed?
There should be a big title fight coming up, but word hasn't reached a humble village here, and just think it's an odd coincidence.
So you're saying someone's trying to dissuade competition?
Perhaps. I don't like to get into the politics of things. Thought I had a mate yesterday. Some fair-haired elf. Said he was making his way that way. Wasn't nobody gonna stop him.
We may know that one. Well, we've met him before. I wouldn't say we know.
So we doing this? From
We are
behind,
headed that way anyway.
from behind, kind of a barrel-chested woman comes kind of protruding out her what do you call it, like a boutique? It's just a little too small, a little too provocative as she comes up and she says, "The only thing you're doing is paying your tab. Well, Cassandra, can't you see I'm here with my mates? You owe us 25 gold. You've been here for a month. You know I'm good for it. Once I went, I don't want to hear no more excuses. Either you pay up by the end of the night, or your ass is mine." He looks back at the group with the help me eyes.
I don't know. It sounds like it might be a good time, gentlemen.
Yes, you seem to have other plans tonight.
Fine, you're gonna desert me too.
Well, it's a bit late to head out now.
Yeah, Cassandra, love, I'll settle up my tab here in, we'll say quarter of an hour. She just stares at him. You can see in her left hand, she's got a cast iron skillet that she's been warming up, so to speak. But she walks back to the kitchen, giving both you and this mysterious gentleman the stink eye.
Unfortunately, I don't think we just made a friend, but might be potential nighttime entertainment.
Aye, should be a good show.
Quarter of an hour comes. You can see this gentleman has bellied up to about 3 more tables at this point, always coming up short-handed. The clock ticks like 10 o'clock, 15 minutes past, and Cassandra starts to move out from the bar. You can see him look at Cassandra, back at a few different tables, and he just straight up just tries to bolt out the door. And you see Cassandra just shake her head. She rears back way too far for any sort of accurate throw, but she wings this cast iron skillet with all of her might. End over end over end. He makes it to the door. He opens it up and he's like, "Ha ha!" He turns his head and wha-crang! Boom! Hits the ground. She walks over, the cast iron skillet's just kind of rolling around on the wooden, the floors, kind of comes to a stop. She kind of kicks the lip as it flips up, and she catches it in her hand, does like a flourish, like a swordsman, and all right, gentlemen. She speaks up to the bar. This is what happens when you don't pay your tab. You can see everybody kind of looking at Cassandra, and they start reaching for their pouches, and you can see them placing bits of gold and silver and copper on the table. She does
Vic is just clapping loudly at the show.
She does the salute with the skillet in hand, walks around to each table and just kind of scoops the monies into the cast iron as it chang 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 clinks in the pan.
Just for shits and giggles, Vic is gonna give her the 25 gold as a tip.
Nice. That's so
That's
fun.
the best entertainment I've had in weeks.
Is that so? That's a mighty big tip. Where do you hail from? You and your group.
Well, individually from various parts, but we've set out from Tantabus.
And what's your purpose? Why visit my humble establishment?
Title
Well-
match at Refuge, haven't you heard? Although it sounds like it might be delayed.
Ain't nobody going to refuge.
Caspian will kind of pause, point at himself, count the rest of his companions. Oh, well, it looks like a few of us are.
You?
She kind of spits over into a spittoon that is sitting next to the bar there. You can see that she's got a bit of tobacco in her mouth.
What, you think you fancy yourself some sort of prize fighter?
Personally, I fancy myself more beside a prize fighter, if you catch my drift, but I can't really get there if I can't watch the match.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't help you there. I ain't smuggling nobody across no borders. You'll have to deal with the centaurs on your own. Now, if you want a steak or a stew, or some sort of potato, I'm your lass. But I'm out of the fighting game.
Are you a former champion?
What do you mean, former?
Well, you just said you're out of the fighting game.
I will always be a champion.
She looks at the group.
This one needs to learn her manners.
Caspian will slightly move Vic out of the immediate frying pan space.
Well, it sounds to me that this champion is a bit afraid of some centaurs, so...
You're not gonna goad me. So quit your trying. I'm a respectable businesswoman here. This is me livelihood now. And you ought to respect that.
Well, not for nothing, but if trade stops between Refuge and your little village here because of these centaurs, you're not going to have much of a business.
What do you mean?
Well, drunk though that idiot may have been, he raised the excellent point that seems to be stopping a lot of business from flowing into Refuge at the moment. So
Good.
travel will eventually dry up.
They all stopping right here.
Yes, but for how long until they give up and leave and word starts to spread that there's no entry?
She looks at you, and you probably know that look. Like the words are there, but the mouth isn't moving. The hand is kind of wagging, finger pointing, and
Damn if you don't have a point. Fine. I suppose you're right. I suppose somebody ought to go make peace with them. Find out what's going on. Now, I ain't going in person. But I can give you this. She gets on a stool and not too gracefully kind of hops up on the bar. She cups her two hands to make kind of a cup around her mouth. All right, you lot. We're closing up early. Get out. And don't forget to pay. People are just kind of like, oh, what? You heard me. Get out. Few moments, people start to make their way out, leaving food and drink on the table. None of them brave enough not to leave a little bit of coin behind as well. You are in the establishment with Cassandra, the the man who's still knocked the fuck out, and yourselves. Fine. But we drinking. She pulls out several kind of shot glasses and starts to pour not exactly a full shot. In fact, one would say it's barely any liquid in there at all. Maybe about an eighth of a shot as she kind of pours it around. But you can smell the aroma coming out of these small containers as she lines them up and just pounds one down real quick. Slams it on the table but doesn't break the glass. Ugh. All right, let's hash this out.
Boulder will take that shot as well. Follow her lead and slam me on the table and go, if you honestly think that's enough?
I ain't trying to kill nobody there, dwarf. You may have grown up on the stuff. The others are bound to sprout hair where there shouldn't be any.
Aye, but it will do them some good.
That's a battle for another day. Maybe we should all put our heads together, come up with a plan. I do have something. She kind of looks over. Does anybody take a shot?
Vic will also take a shot.
Ooh. I don't know if you've had dwarven spirits before, but who is like ingesting fire?
My magic sprouts out dwarven ale, so she's used to it.
Yeah, Caspian's gonna pass.
Okay.
Baldur will drink Caspians.
Nice. You see both you and Cassandra reach for it. As you were a little bit closer, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. As you snatch up Caspian's glass and look at her and wham, slam it down.
That's more like it.
Right. She moves back behind the bar and she pulls out a small but elaborate wooden case. It's maybe the size... It's about 4 inches wide, about maybe 10 inches long, and just a few inches thick. It seems to be made of a very exotic wood. You can see that it's been inlaid with precious metals, silvers, and golds. As she kind of pops open the latches and pulls out a very finely crafted dagger. You ever seen one of these before?
Pretty sure I use those to clean my teeth.
Not this one, you don't. These are very rare, very special.
She kind of flips it in her hands a little bit, and she brings like her hand in like a throwing motion, but she stops the pommel just right in front of your eyes.
You see what that reads? It says Cassandra. 1, 2, 7.
I'm the 127th champion. The great contest of wills at Refuge. This carries a lot of weight to certain people. If you'll help me have travel continue, it's yours.
Well, seems like it could be useful.
It is. If you ever do make it to Refuge, that's your ticket in.
Well, can't say no to a guarantee that.
You could. You could turn down me offer. If you somehow made it to Refuge, I'm sure you could buy your way in. Buy your way into fights. Money makes the world go round.
Something tells me, Caspian will say as he's just kind of eyeing Volder, and that we're not going to outrun any centaurs if they do try and stop us, so we'll probably have to deal with them either way.
Is my sentiments exactly.
Baldwin will kind of look at Caspian, kind of hurt, and just like, I don't know.
I guess you're not.
Chin up, old man. I don't know, many who could.
You could always try parlay. Them centaurs are tough bastards. They're a prideful lot.
But something's riled them up if they've only recently started causing such a fuss.
Unfortunately, I do not have the answer. I imagine it lies in Refuge.
And we'll just have to find out.
Make sure the ponies don't keep bucking travelers, and your business will be safe and sound.
And honestly, I am inclined to believe the idiot over there that they're not in it for the gold, asking for 100 gold a head, if that is true. It's an exorbitant price for, well, people that aren't adventurers. I doubt they'd get very many takers.
No, I imagine they get far more heads. She pours another glass, both for Volderin, Vic, herself, those who seem to be partaking of this. She fills it 3/4 the way full. Slams one down. Really
Okay,
leans. Go ahead.
I have to know, does Phaley try and get drunk?
No.
It smells bad.
while chewing on a raw fish.
Absolutely.
Right. It smells like burning.
It's like, what?
Right? It smells like Exxon Valdez caught fire again. Spilled in the ocean. She really kind of leans in after this one. Gets a little too close to you, Volderin. Almost kissing range. Now.
Gross.
Real quick, F, and I need to get going.
Understood. Thanks for sticking out with us. We'll get you caught up. What happens here? I don't think we'll get named by combat.
Later,
Okay.
man.
See ya.
See ya.
See you later.
She leans in way too close to Volderin. Dwarf. You can kind of smell the spirits rolling off her lips and tongue. I want you to know this. You see that man down there? She points to the poor bastard that's got the lump the size of a russet potato, the back of his head. My aim is good. My range far. If your group betrays me, doesn't succeed, and takes this dagger, which is very precious to me heart. She kind of presses her hands just a little too hard on her bosoms. If you betray me in any way, know this. My aim and throw will not miss. I will track you down to the ends of the earth to reclaim what is mine, not just for the dagger, but for me pride. She hangs there close to your face, just a little too long, and then suddenly reels back, grabs the dwarven spirit bottle, takes 2 or 3 pulls off of it. The look on your face.
Baldurin will slam his shot. He'll go.
You don't need to worry about us getting results. But I should also warn you, I'm quite proud of my throw too.
And he'll hold the empty glass out in front of her, kind of gesturing for...
For her to refill?
Yeah.
She gets in close and watches the alcohol pour from the bottle to the glass, fills it past the meniscus as it starts to seep down the sides.
Baldurin is going to man up and slam that.
Nice. Well, she places the dagger back into the case, sets it on the bar where you guys were seated around. It's closing time. She moves around and blows out a few of the torches and candles. She makes towards the door, and she looks down at the poor bastard gentleman. She scoops him up into her arms and does a fireman carry. Doors that way, as she starts to walk up the steps.
Baldurin will yell out,
Be gentle with that one, he looks frail.
Well, perhaps you'd like to take his place. The floorboards creak as she takes step after step.
Baldurin will yell back.
It's a kind offer, but I'm already spoken for.
Nice. I thought you were going to be like, there's a dwarven word for this. Fuck it, YOLO.
Eat that glass. Let's do this.
Oh my god. But she carries her like a spider carrying the carcass back to her den of web. She bids you all adieu, knowing that you wouldn't dare stick around.
We should
No, we all just stay there.
we should
Just
probably
to
get
spite
going.
her.
I can't imagine the noises that is about to ensue would be appropriate for the young lasses here.
I'll look at Phaley.
Yeah, Caspian's carrying her out, like holding her out like a kid by the hands clapped over her ears.
Oh. As you guys are getting ready to exit, you hear a loud sound. Like somebody had just dropped a dead body on the floor.
Close enough.
Indeed. So what's the plan?
Guess we'll rest up and go fight us some centaurs.
Okay, so there are plenty of or there's at least one other inn in the area where you guys can kind of shanty up for the night. I'm not worried about small costs and that sort of thing. It's pretty much a non-issue for right now, considering the wealth that you guys have. But you bed down for the night, get a bite to eat, and well, you probably ate at the other establishment. Regardless, you bed down, wake up in the morning, and set off to the east.
I believe so.
Okay. As you guys move on for about a day or so, kind of the rocky earth becomes much more apparent as you move into the rocklands. You can see in the distance a great kind of stone mountain starting to take shape. It's not a huge range or anything, but it's still a pretty significant size. Still too far off in the distance to really give clarity to its form and shape and its kind of minor nooks and crannies. As you guys approach out, I think Kaladin probably has the best sight. We'll just give him the benefit of the doubt. In the distance, he alerts you to what appears to be like some wooden poles that have been shoved into the ground. And you can see some sort of barricades around. It's maybe a half mile up the road or so. Do you guys want to continue on the road, or are you going to try to skirt around to the side?
What say you lot?
Well, if we were going to face them head on, I guess we should knock on the front door.
Okay. That's one for front door.
Full frontal.
If we can pause for a moment, Vic will fly up on her broom and get out her telescope and just, or not telescope, spyglass, and just scout the general area around, make sure there's not like reinforcements around the bend anywhere.
Yeah, perception in the bucket. Okay. As you take a moment to kind of survey the surrounding area, you do see a group of kind of traveling nomadic. At that distance, it kind of appears to be horses moving across the plains, kicking up dust. But in around the immediate vicinity, it's very sparse. There's nary a twig or much in the way of vegetation in the area. You don't see any sort of humanoids or large-ass horse people.
I'll head back down and relay that to the group. And I think it's safe to proceed.
We won't know what's really got them. We're all worked up unless we speak to them.
Okay. As you guys move further down the trail, the shapes start to take better form. You can see there's no gate or anything that's set up, but these two large kind of spiked poles have been set. You can see a couple skulls have been placed at the top, too large to be humanoid, but definitely some sort of animal life that has been placed there as kind of a warning or a scare tactic. There is a sign, however, next to a very plain metal bucket that says 100G per head.
What? No bell to ring?
There is no bell that you see.
Out of curiosity, is there any money in the bucket?
You look over into the bucket. It's empty. Nothing to steal.
Oh, but that also means they haven't necessarily had a lot of customers.
In a mild curiosity, I'm going to use my wand of magic detection to cast detect magic, see if the bucket actually has some sort of like magical bag of holding kind of property.
The bucket is definitely magical, and so is the area between the two poles. Does it tell you school as well?
Yes, schools. No further details though.
Okay. I will get you some answers on those. I want to say conjuration. That's something that I need a cheat sheet for, just like boom. The area between the poles is definitely conjuration. And the bucket is divination.
Well, unless I miss my guess, I believe the bucket has been enchanted with some means of alerting them as to when funds have been placed inside. And there's also some magic between these two poles. It's conjuration of a sort, possibly a way for them to arrive or for others to travel through somewhere else. I'm not entirely sure.
Do you have a way of dispelling its sorcery, or should we brave the storm?
Well, I can make the attempt, but honestly, if we are to defeat these centaurs, or at least dissuade them from their task, dispelling their means of approaching us seems rather counterproductive.
Vic, dear,
Yes?
how good would you be able to craft an illusion over the lot of us?
That's not really my sort of magic. I could actually use a disguise kit for practical purposes, but I'm afraid I don't know many illusionary spells.
Wow, perhaps my cheek will not work then. I was considering having us all be headless as we cross the line.
That would be very interesting, I will admit.
As you guys are discussing, the bucket starts to levitate up off the platform, and it does just a swishing motion back, forth, centers, and then back down.
Y'all see that?
Yeah, that's either it getting impatient or it's a even worse sign.
I'm gonna drop 1 gold coin in the bucket.
Okay. It clanks and rolls around, kind of echoes in that hollow bucket.
Now, you said we saw, or Vic saw, centaurs or horse people riding some distance away,
In the distance away, yes.
but like not an incredible distance, right?
I mean, it had to have been a couple mile, probably. By horse, that's not a huge distance, as they're capable runners, but in practical sense, 2 miles is still a pretty good distance. Again, that's roughly.
Oh, how about this? Caspian will look around at his friends and say, if you want, I can try and get their attention, and we'll at least draw them over here, easier than dumping a bucket load of gold into the tent.
It's worth a shot.
How
Is it
would
going
you
to expend much of your resources?
Caspian is going to shrug at that, and he'll just walk up and not cross between them. He'll reach out and grab one of the poles.
Mhm.
Actually focusing on the skull on top of one of them, and he's going to cast the daylight spell at max brightness.
Oh, interesting.
As he passes by Valdurin will cast resistance on just in case.
All right, so you basically set up a giant beacon. In the distance, it's quiet at first, but you start to hear the roaring sound, almost like water coming your way. You can see the dust and debris being kicked up back behind as you see these large quadruped horse-type people start to come into view. They do a kind of a quarter semi, or like a half of a circle around this gate, not on the side that you were on. I can draw it out later. You can see the largest, kind of a tan sort of stallion with kind of white spots. Large lance at his side, just swelling pectoral muscles. You can see his hair's been pulled up and back in a large flowing kind of mane sort of top knot. As he approaches the gate, he says, "I'll talk to you next week."